This portion of our math review I simply call other math because it's just a bunch of other math stuff we've got to know, so I threw it into one big group here. Discount points we'll talk about, mortgage interest, computing that, what the cost approach is and how we compute value with the cost approach, the income approach, how we compute value with income approach, and then some closing proration problems. Discount points may be paid by the buyer or borrower to buy down the interest rate that the lender would normally charge. A discount point is 1% of the amount borrowed. So, John got an 80% LTV loan on a $350,000 property, paid 3 points to the lender to lower the interest rate. How much did he pay in discount points? Well, an 80% loan to value of the $350,000 property would be 80% of $350,000. It's a $280,000 loan at 3 points, or 3%. So that's $8,400. 0.03 times 280,000 is $8,400 in discount fees, discount points. Interest on loans. Our formula is IRP, IRP. I is the yearly interest that a borrower pays, R is the interest rate that they're paying, and P is the principal of the loan balance. So to compute I, to find I, which is the first thing we'll do here, we multiply R times P. How much interest would be on a loan, be paid on a loan of $575,000 if the interest rate were 4%. So we're going to find I, looking for I interest. And we know the formula is R times P. So R is 0.04. The principal balance is $575,000. So the annual interest is $23,000. Okay, let's do an R problem, finding rate. Here's our problem. The purchaser borrowed $295,000 with an annual interest of $14,750. What was the interest rate? Let me go over and we borrow our formula. R is I divided by P. I is the annual interest was $14,750. Our principal that we borrowed was $295,000. We divide $14,750 by $295,000. Our interest rate is 5%. Okay, now let's do a P problem. Let's find the principal balance. How much was the loan amount when the interest for the year was $15,000 and the interest rate was 6%? So we're going to be looking for P, or principal amount, and we know our formula is I divided by R. So we take I, our interest was $15,000, our interest rate was 0.06. We divide 15,000 by 0.06. Our principal balance that we must have borrowed was $25,000. Using the cost approach to compute the value of land, our steps are, first we separate the building and the land, then we calculate the replacement cost of the building, or reproduction cost, either of those, reproduction or replacement. We subtract for depreciation, and we add back then the value of the land. So here's our problem. The land is valued at $120,000. The reproduction cost of the building is valued at $350,000. Physical depreciation is $2,000. Functional obsolescence is $1,000. Economic depreciation is $2,000. What is the value of the property using the cost approach? Okay, so there's our problem. Here's our steps, and now we'll go and solve it. Okay, let's take the numbers that we were just given and see if we can compute the value of this parcel by using the cost approach. And we remember that our steps were, we first separate the building and the land, then we calculate the replacement cost of the building, or reproduction cost, either one. We subtract for depreciation, and then we add back to the land. So the first thing we do then is we separate the land and the building, and to the building then we subtract depreciation. Those are those three things there. That gives us the depreciated value of the building. We add that back onto the land, and we have a value under the cost approach of $465,000. Continuing on with our appraisal mathematics, we need to be able to solve some problems using what's called the income approach. The income approach uses our formula IRV, and just like the others, each of these has a relationship one to the other. So I is the income, R is the capitalization rate, and V is the value. So in the income approach, I stands for income, R for rate, and V for value. Sometimes it's called our Uncle Irv formula. So here's the way this might work. Let's start and let's solve for an income problem. How much annual income would we receive on a property that was valued at $1,125,000 and at a cap rate of 8%? Well, we use our I equals R times V formula. Our rate is 0.08. Our value is $1,250,000. 0.08 times $1,250,000. We could expect a net annual income of $90,000 on this particular deal. Let's solve for a cap rate or rate of return problem. A purchaser bought a property for $2,900,000 that had an annual net income of $174,000. What was the cap rate on this property? R is I divided by V. I divided by V would be $174,000 divided by $2,900,000. We would have a cap rate on this property of 6%. Again, under the income approach, let's solve a V, or value. What would be the value of an income property that had an annual income of $55,000 and a cap rate of 8%? This small investment property would be computed this way. Value is I divided by R, income divided by cap rate. Income is $55,000, cap rate is 0.08. 55,000 divided by 0.08. The value of this property would be $687,500 based on those two factors. Some other problems we might get with appraisal math are computing gross rent multipliers and gross income multipliers, or problems using gross GRMs or GIMs. These problems are solved exactly the same way. The difference is gross rent multipliers problems use a monthly rent. Gross income multipliers are using an annual income. The difference is that the gross rent multiplier is generally used on single-family, small residential income properties. The gross income multipliers are generally used on multifamily investment properties. But they're computed the same way. To find value of either of these types of properties, we simply take the gross rent or the gross income and multiply it by the given multiplier. We'll be given the multiplier in the problem. So if we take our gross rent and we multiply it by the multiplier, we'll find our value, or the gross income. So what's the value of a property with an annual gross income of $500,000 and a multiplier of 14? We take $500,000 times 14. It's worth $1 million. What would be the value of a condo with a monthly gross rent of $2,500 and a multiplier of 110? Computed the same way. $2,500 a month times 110, it would have a value of $275,000. So there are some more math review problems for you that you can go over, and hopefully that'll be of some help to you, and hopefully that this was a good review for you as well.